of it in old New York.
All right, everybody, how's it going? We are here at Ground Zero for the coronavirus. I am recording this live from Wuhan, China. If you could believe it, I pulled off some resources, did some things that I'm not really too proud of, but I got here and I'm in Wuhan and I'm gonna interview the man that had the bat soup that started the coronavirus. Here within the next 5 minutes or so, I expect him to be coming up. This is really monumental. I was able to get some sponsorships to help secure the flight over here to Wuhan, and I'm gonna be talking to the guy what was going through his head when he created this bat soup that started the virus, and it should be really interesting. Actually, I'm in my apartment in Dallas, Texas, so I'm hope nobody thought that was serious. The guy that had the bat soup. If I'm able to get in touch with him, I'll have him on the show. But right now, it's just me sitting in my one-bedroom apartment in Dallas, Texas. Sorry if I got anybody excited for that, but avoid bat soup. I think that's what we're really trying to get at here is to avoid bat soup. Because you never know what could happen from it. You go to a wet market, you get yourself some soup. There's a bat's face that haunts the caves, and you have some soup with it, and then you're spreading a pandemic across the world. Not the most optimal scenario for your food. So good luck to that guy. Hopefully he didn't get the strongest case of the corona. Hopefully he had a coronita version of the bat soup. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, speaking of animals, how about the Tiger King? Tiger King, he is trending. #1 show on Netflix. Netflix came through. They said the people need something to sit home and binge watch more than ever. Stranger Things is on delay for production, but we'll give them the next best thing. The next stranger thing from the coronavirus, the Tiger King. So shout out to that guy. What the fuck is Joe Exotic? Whatever the fuck his name is. Seems like a good guy, but that's a little crazy. I only watched one episode so far, and I'm just a little concerned because it seems like half of the cast or half of the people that work at the tiger farm are missing limbs. I don't know if they are missing limbs as a result of tiger attacks. I did start briefly the second episode, and there was a girl that had her arm ripped off by a tiger, and then the Tiger King runs into the gift shop where everybody's shopping, and he says, I just want everybody to know right now so you don't hear on the news, we just had an incident. We had a worker, she put her hand in the cage, tiger ripped her arm off. Sorry about that. And then he walks away, and the fucking people there are just looking at him like, wait, what the fuck just happened? But then he carries on with business as usual, and of course he thinks of the most important thing at the time, how it's going to affect him financially. Screw the arm, how's it going to affect him financially? And then the girl says something. She went back to work like a few days later, and she's like, it was just another day. It was just another day over here at the Joe Exotic's Tiger Farm, the Tiger King. Just another day to get your arm ripped off. Oh, that's a spoiler. Should I have said spoiler alert? Well, I didn't really tell anything about a fucking story. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so, another day at the office at the Tiger Farm, girl getting her arm ripped off, returning to work a few days later, and she held no resentment towards the staff over there. So, we'll see how that goes. Good for them. Another news with the coronavirus, big news. There was a guy in Walmart walking around, recording himself on Facebook Live, and he did what anybody would do in his circumstances. He said he had the coronavirus. He said if he's going to get it, everybody else is going to get it. He looked like somebody that if they did get the coronavirus, they would walk around and ensure that everybody has it because they just want to be included in society. And then they found out he doesn't actually have the coronavirus. He was just, I don't know, what's the term? Attention seeking, and is a perfect symbol for for people, for really like this generation of people, of my generation, holla at your boy, that are just making shit up and then creating scares just to like not even be doing anything wrong, but he got arrested. He was doing nothing wrong, said he was doing something wrong. Like, why do you want to seem like you're doing something wrong if you're not actually doing anything wrong? Why do anything wrong to begin with? What is, I don't understand it. But he was at Walmart. It looked like they were pretty stocked up well over there. And I'm pretty sure he was getting himself, he said, I'm going to get myself, he didn't talk like that. I don't know. He was more kind of like, I'm going to get myself some vitamin C there, build up that immunity. I'm going to fight this corona off. And then I think he was passing the beer aisle and somebody threw a corona at him and hopefully impaled his skin. But that's good that Walmart was at least stocked up on supplies over there, because I did a little drive-in yesterday. Yes, but I was not breaking the rules. We are on lockdown, but we are allowed to drive if we are going to pick up groceries and essential supplies. So I went over to the Heb, the old Heb, H-E-B, as we call it in the biz, to pick up some shit. A lot of canned foods, some mandarin oranges, keep up the vitamin C like coronavirus guy. Hopefully he didn't take the last of the mandarins over from the Heb, the H-E-B, as we call it in the biz. I was able to get some of those. A lot of canned foods, some bananas, whatever the fuck. What else did I got? Some meat, some protein and all that good shit. So was able to stock up a little bit. But I'm telling you right now, if you do something, what I did was I ordered online, and I picked up, and then the girl just emptied everything into the back of the car, because they were practicing social distancing. They had a sign, we're practicing social distancing. Roll down the window, we'll communicate with you through the window. We're not going to get close to you. And then, of course, she came to the window, got right next to it, and was reading off everything that they didn't have that I ordered and what they substituted for. And they pretty much substituted half the list. They didn't have like a quarter of the list. So if you're going to do something like that where you're going to order online, order extra, and then they'll just deduct the difference from the final receipt that they email you, or if you drive away from the supermarket. So that worked. So it worked out well enough, and it seemed pretty like a pretty good thing they had going on, aside from the girl coming right up and reading it. But fortunately, I had my mask and was able to deflect most of the molecules that she could potentially have. It was a little unnerving, but I feel pretty okay so far. Today I have a little bit of a cough, a little bit of a fever, but other than that, everything is corona okay over here. So, well, then it kind of sucked. I had to drive an hour for it, because I kind of wanted to go somewhere that was on the outskirts of the city. So we went over to a place that was probably affected a lot less than the Dallas area. So good. Shout out to the Heb and the HEB, as we call it in the biz. And also still going on. Got the Onnit 6 workout. If you're looking for a home workout, quarantine jailhouse workout, been killing that. Had a very good, got a good pump. I bought a pull-up bar, so I'm augmenting the body weight stuff with some pull-ups, and it's going well. I'm feeling like Tony the Kid over here again. You know what I mean? I feel like we're gonna get back to where we need to be. Quarantine, gym or no gym. When I get back to training jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna be raring, ready to go. I did sign up for some 10th Planet Online. They have access to an online incoherent rambling as usual. They have an online library of videos that go over jiu-jitsu techniques. So I'm going to be looking forward to reviewing those, but been sticking with the workouts and the pull-ups and all that good shit, because the guy that Joe Rogan had on his podcast said the most important thing: exercise, keep your body strong, and that'll help build up the immunity. I'm also having like 3 mandarins a day. I got my multivitamin, I got my krill oil, got my vitamin D. How you doing? So doing what I gotta do to stay where I need to stay. So Yeah, on its 6. If you haven't, it's well worth it. It's something I didn't even pay for it recently. I bought it a few years ago, and I just started using it. So shout out to On It 6. Also shout out. I mentioned Tiger King earlier. I want to shout out to Tom Segura, his special Ball Hog. For all you ladies out there that are ball hogs yourselves, I think you could learn something from Tom Segura's stand-up special. It was hilarious. Tom Segura is like one of my favorite comedians. And shout out to my brother on that note. Another shout out because I was able to commandeer, doing some sweet talking to him to get his Netflix login information. So I'm able to be able to see both the Tiger King and Tom Segura special because after bothering my brother to get his login information, he did create a name in my own account on the Netflix. Nothing too endearing, which was kind of rude. He wrote douches use this account, which was kind of disrespectful. I wouldn't expect much else from my brother though. You know, he has kind of like a weird sense of humor like that. I don't see what the big ha is about that. I'm gonna try to edit the name. I haven't been able to edit it yet, but thanks a lot, Fred. Thanks a lot. And I'm catching up on the Tiger King, and I'm on the Tom Segura train there. I don't know what else is on the Netflix there. I saw the number 1 trending movie, or top 5 was Outbreak from like 1995. I started watching it and then I stopped right away. I'm like, I can't keep surrounding myself with this shit, with this pandemic. But it does look like something interesting that I'll watch at some point for sure. It has like it's like pre-HD square TV shit. I don't know. Outbreak. I'm gonna give that a watch. It should be good to see. Wood, shout out, and another shout. I gotta stop saying shout out. People are gonna be like, this guy. He says the same. He said that. What else was I repeating just before? Oh, that's how we do it in the biz with the HEB and the HEB. And now shout out. So sorry about that. I'm doing the best I can. I'm pumping out these episodes as fast, as readily, and I'm trying to really give you guys a quality product here. I'm trying to give you some real quality product, and that doesn't happen overnight. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, have some patience, and we're gonna get where we need to be. Tony Talks will go to the next level if you just have some patience, and you listen. And you share this with everybody that you know, and eventually some people will want to listen to some incoherent rambler who has no business talking about current events and giving people advice on how to live their life. I should probably talk to somebody about what I said last podcast, where you can take everything that I see on here as gospel. Actually don't do that. Because some idiot will probably be like, well, I heard it on this fucking podcast, and he said everything is true that he says on there. And then I don't know if I redact that message. And if you do that, go to therapy, because the therapy's done wonders for me. It'll do wonders for you too if you are actually believing a statement like that. Anyway, yeah, Wood, if you don't know, is the very large, well-endowed, naked black man that is being passed around throughout all circles of friends and families now. I sent pictures of Wood naked with his piece hanging out to the floor to my best friends, Joe and Stefan. Stefan got mad at me because I talked about him on a previous podcast and I said my friend. But, just so you know, Stefan and Joe, my 2 best buddies in the whole world. We are sharing Wood. We're sharing Wood. I don't just have my Wood. We all have each other's Wood. We're sharing all the latest Wood fucking pictures. They have like videos of a guy putting a K-cup in a coffee in a Keurig, and then they're like, oh look, making coffee, and then it's a picture of Wood with his giant schlong hanging out. And it looks like he's pissing out the black coffee. Fucking. So I'm going to make one of those, and I'm going to pass it around. And my goal is going to be for it to get back to me. I'm going to send it to a few groups of friends. And my goal is that another group will eventually get it back to me, because I've been sending those to pretty much everybody ad nauseum. So, you know, thanks for the laughs and helping us getting through these times, even though you're not around to see it. Your spirit is still living on, and we all are. We're all thankful for it. You know, I sent it to my dad. I sent something. I sent a wood picture to my dad, and he was like, "Ha ha." I didn't know how he was gonna react. I was like, "Should I send this to him?" I was like, "Fuck it." I sent it to everybody. I'm gonna send it to him. So I sent it to my dad, and he was like, "Ha ha." That guy, he's not alive anymore. He's from San Francisco. And he knew everything about the guy. I was like, how do you know so much about it? He was like, oh, I was watching TMZ. I'm pretty sure I'm the first person to actually send him something. So he was probably watching the TMZ and was laughing about it. And was like, oh, that's funny. And then he talks to my stepmom and he explains things to her very slowly. Yeah, they send, what the kids are doing is they're sending a picture and it says, oh, emergency situation, and then you click on it and it's this guy and his dick's hanging out. And my stepmom was probably, why he do that? Because she's from Poland. Why do that? Is that funny? That's what they do? And my dad, yeah, Jen, that's what they do. That's what the kids do. And that's what's getting us through the pandemic and the quarantine. We're all getting creative with different ways to fuck with each other. And we're making sure that people, even though they're not around, they are still in our hearts. And, you know, wood seems to be the gift that keeps on giving. So how about that Trump cash? Everybody looking forward to it? All you people, not my president. Well, you know what? He may not be a president for a variety of reasons, but you're getting that cash back, baby. How you doing? $1,200 for a single person, $2,400 for couples, and another $500 for each kid you got. So start pumping out those kids. Boom. Give yourselves something to screw about here, because the more kids you got, the more you get augmented from the government. A little socialism to move in with our GOP president there. And this is what I was talking about last time. He's just being pragmatic. This guy was never really a fucking Republican to begin with. He just wanted to be president, and if you're gonna come off 8 years of a Democrat, the country is more than likely gonna go to Republican anyway. So he just was pragmatic in selecting which party he was gonna choose from. Because I remember when it was in 2008 when Obama ended up winning, but it was early on in the race, so Obama wasn't really, excuse me, I had to get that corona out. Obama wasn't really too popular yet, or he wasn't really the front runner. It was like when Hillary Clinton was the front runner, and Rudy Giuliani was kind of the front runner. That didn't work out at all. It ended up being McCain and Obama. But I remember Trump was saying, you know something, I know Hillary very well. She's very smart. Rudy Giuliani, great job during 9/11 as mayor of New York. We're going to have two very good candidates for president. So then he said that in pre-2008 election. And he ran in 2016 as a Republican. You know, he said good things about Rudy, but he also said good things about Hillary. And this just shows why politics is just a fucking racket. So yeah, anyway, UBI, should we have that? Universal basic income, should that become a regular thing in case situations like this happen? They had to pass a massive $2 trillion plan. Maybe something, you know, Andrew Yang was campaigning on giving everybody $1,000 a month. Maybe you do something where you give people, you know, just a couple $100 a month, and then you could scale it up and down depending on the situation, how the country's really doing. And this is something that even the most, you know, libertarian-minded folks were coming around on. Even Rand Paul was in support of this plan. He just didn't want to do it for everybody, for people that are working and that really don't need it. Why just give them money? But even the fact that somebody as conservative as him was saying to do it at all shows that this, you know, sometimes politics aside, you just got to do what's best for the nation and what's best for the people. And if they're going to spend trillions of dollars and they're going to spend all this money and they're going to do all this shit anyway, you know, why not put it put some of it back into the hands of the people. Because let's be honest, for a lot of people out there, you're just getting back some of the tax money that you sent to the government anyway. And this is just a way for you to get some of that money back. It's like another fucking tax return. So, yeah, I'm not really going to say thank you to the government because they take enough money out of my fucking taxes to begin with. And they've been doing that for a long time anyway. So it's just a little bit of a way to get some of the money back. And that's, I think, why a lot of libertarians and people who were disenfranchised with Trump went down to support Andrew Yang during this past election. And Andrew Yang was actually, he put on his Instagram that he was consulting with the White House about the UBI. So they said it's probably not going to get out till like May. But we'll see what ends up happening with it. If it could be something that's beneficial for the long term, regardless of how the economy's doing, regardless of the state of the country, because it could just be an extra preparedness measure that you can scale depending on how the fuck things are going in the country. So yeah, shout out to the the Democrats stalled on it a little bit, but in the end they came together left and right and they got it done finally. Fucking yeah, whatever. I'm not saying thank you to them. I'm not shouting them out. No shout out to the politicians. They've done enough to put us into $23 trillion of debt, and they're going to create this stimulus package that's finally going to go to the people when you've been bailing out fucking everybody for years anyway. So, you know what? Yeah, give it to me. And I'm not going to say thank you because it's mine anyway. Anyway, Texas Lieutenant Governor. We have Dan Patrick. He said on the news, he was on Fox News, I think he was talking to Tucker Carlson. I'm going to play the clip in a second, but let me just set the stage for a little bit and then I'll give my thoughts on it. He was saying that senior citizens and those with grandchildren, I think he's 69 himself, they would be okay to sacrifice themselves, something to that extent, in order to save the economy. Let's roll the clip and I'll give my thoughts right after.
Tucker, no one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me noble or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me, I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. And I want to, live smart and see through this, but I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. My heart is lifted tonight by what I heard the president say, because we can do more than, one thing at a time. We can do 2 things. So, my message is that let's get back to work. Let's get back to living. Let's be smart about it. And those of us who are 70 plus, we'll take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country.
So there you have it, Dan Patrick giving us 2 cents, and it's how are you going to speak for all the seniors to begin with? And you can't. The thing that we gotta just come to terms with is you can't put a value. It's amazing you have to say you can't put a value on life, period, and just to get people back to working, just to get crowds, because the thought behind it is that everybody's going to get it if it gets to the seniors, and then if they die, but if the economy is doing well, then it's okay. First of all, it might not just affect seniors. We see many cases where it affects people of all age types. You get different types of everything is like on a spectrum. You could get this asymptomatically, like Donovan Mitchell and fucking Kevin Durant and a lot of these super athletes, or you could get it, a little bit of it, which is seems like what Tom Hanks and what he had, and then, or you could get it that people are dying regardless of their age in some cases. And a lot of people still saying, well, it's still no more deadly than the flu. It is more deadly than the flu, and it's spreading more quickly than the flu, and it just seems like the economy just has to take a backseat for a little while. They passed the stimulus package. We don't have to rush anything to get back in order to preserve the economy. When you got to preserve life first, gotta put humans first. Then, because the economy is nothing without the life behind it. If you just treat people like, they're cannon fodder for the rest of us, it's fucking insane. Yeah, it's just like silly comment. I'm sure he'll probably, if he hasn't already, by the time this podcast comes out, I'm sure he would have said something differently to begin with, because it seems like every time I stop recording this, news changes and news moves so fast that by the time I hit end and then publish, a lot of the stuff I'm saying becomes irrelevant, which is probably a good thing for everybody. Let's see here. UFC 249 is still on the go. Still looking like they want to do it. Dana White, holla at your boy. I'll give him a shout out because he's driving, he's pushing to make this happen at all costs. And he said 99.9% done. Rumors that it's going to be in Florida. A little bit of it, the thing is with a fight like this, well, they were going to be in New York, which doesn't have the best reputation for an athletic commission. This is like a fight that you want to see either in Nevada or California, because they're just like the two most experienced, the two most, I don't know a lot about the fucking, I just know their reputations. But the bottom line is that with judging and everything, if there's a way you could get some Nevada judges into Florida, if it does happen in Florida, then that would probably be better for everybody. But, and then I heard Francis Ngannou, he got tested for the coronavirus. There's a chance he might fight on the card. If they put Ngannou and Rosenstruck on the fucking Khabib and Tony Ferguson card, that's, if I'm telling you, put that thing on ESPN. People aren't going to want to spend the pay-per-view money right now anyway. Put it on ESPN and you'll make a lot of money from the fucking commercials, and it'll be huge ratings. And what that does for the future of the UFC, to have a card, a fight of that magnitude, this is the UFC Super Bowl. It's Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov. I know it's not Conor McGregor, but as far as like hardcore UFC fans, this is the Super Bowl, and you're getting to put the top level of the UFC out there for everybody to see. I think it'd be a really good thing to do, especially because of the time that we're in right now. So, fingers crossed. Hopefully, that idea gets into Dana. I think if he thinks about it, well, what the fuck do I know? Dana White will. If it's on pay-per-view, I'm gonna buy it anyway. But I think it'd be great if it's on regular ESPN and it just is open to anybody that has cable. So that's coming up. Some more entertainment. WrestleMania is coming up. How you doing, WrestleMania? They've been having Raw and SmackDown at the WWE Performance Center. I think it's in Orlando in Florida. And Florida's funny because they just are letting everything roll. They had an MMA night there last week, and that's why Florida's rumored for the UFC still. They had like Combat Night, a lower professional promotion than the UFC, so that's why Florida's rumors is circulating that'll happen for UFC 249. But they are going to have WrestleMania. They're going to record it. No crowd. The thing with wrestling is, with professional wrestling, with no crowd, it's like half the show is them playing to the crowd. Half the show is them feeding off the energy of the crowd. It's hearing the cheers. It's hearing the boos. If there's a good guy getting booed, you're like, oh shit. And if there's a heel getting cheered, it's like, oh, is he going to make a face turn or whatever? Heels, the bad guys. Faces are the good guys, in quotations, whatever. So it's going to be kind of odd. And I watched when Stone Cold came out, he was like, if you want to see Stone Cold, he came out and did an empty Raw with no crowd. And they have you could see the seats right behind them, and they're all empty. And Stone Cold's coming out and he's saying, if you want to see Stone Cold drink some beers, give me a hell yeah. And that's as quiet as I just made it, is as quiet as the crowd was. Except one of the announcers finally said something. Stone Cold gave him a stunner, and then he was drinking beers in front of no crowd. So it was weird. It was weird, but I think it's cool, and I think it's important that like something like the UFC goes on. If there's a professional sport that could pull it off right now because of the way it's structured and the amount of manpower is needed and how selected it is, or how, I don't know, how much you could scale it up and down. You could scale it down to when they did it in Brazil, there was no crowd there, but it was still great. And UFC 249 with Khabib and Tony is probably not going to have a crowd there either. I should have said that a second ago. But you think about times, and sometimes they're criticizing Dana White for wanting to continue to put on the UFC. But in World War II, they created a female baseball league, a league of their own. Isn't that what a league of their own is based on? Another Tom Hanks is making a second appearance on the podcast right now. And to keep people entertained and whatever, and to fill a certain void that's left when something like this happens and it causes so many things to close down or close up shop. So with something like the UFC, it makes sense. Either way, you understand if they postpone it at this point, but if that, because of that 0.1% doubt that is being left in the air, but if they don't and they continue to have the fight, I think it'll be great. And I think it's something that could, it kind of, be good, and especially if they put it on free TV, because then, or, just on cable, because then it really gives people something real like distraction to everybody. So there we go. I saw that I'm gonna start winding things down here. I saw a clip. There was an Instagram influencer. One of these jackass influencers licked a toilet bowl, and he put it on whatever the fuck his social media platform is, and then he got tested positive for the coronavirus. So shout out to Darwinism for giving that guy the coronavirus after he was licking a toilet bowl. I don't know if it was a public toilet bowl. I guess it probably was. Otherwise, I don't know. The guy licked the toilet bowl to show, like, maybe we should just open everything back up, and just so people like this can start getting weeded out. The guy licked the toilet bowl and tested positive for the coronavirus. I just don't understand it. I have some self-Darwinism myself that I needed to come up, get over. Last night I put eardrops in my eye. I put eardrops in my eyes, and I thought they would after I put them in, they were just burning. I was like, wow, these eye drops are burning, and I was like crying. I was like, ow, but I was being sarcastic with it, and then, my girl was like, no, these are fucking. These are eardrops. I was like, oh shit, that would make sense. So I just went to the sink, washed some water, and it went away. Thank God. So yeah, that's my personal. There's a lot of Darwinism references. We had Tom Hanks get mentioned a couple times, and this is how we do things in the biz. Shout out to Heb. Shout out to all the grocery store workers, all the logistics line workers, healthcare workers, everybody that's an essential employee. I like those essential employee memes that they have going on now. They're like, oh, stop it. I'm essential. But no, good for you guys out there keeping everything moving for what we have in this current state of affairs and the corona pandemic. That's going to be everything for this time. This is Tony Talks, at Tony Talks 8 on Instagram, at Tony Talks 8 on Twitter, Tony Talks 8 podcast@gmail.com if you want to send an email. And also, we are on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast. We're going to get up on YouTube soon. And so if you're looking, we're pretty much should be accessible to all the major podcast platforms. I'll get them on the rest soon enough. Otherwise, stay clean, wash your hands, wash your ass, save some toilet paper for the rest of us. And, have a good one. Talk to you next time.
Brand new start of it.